Hello and welcome back to the studio. Today's Bob Ross classic painting is Winter Lace. I thought after the heat wave we've just experienced, something nice and cool was just the sort of thing we want to have. My feature brush for this painting is this, a Bob Ross half round brush. If you're struggling to get highlights on trees and bushes or those little snowy touches, then one of these brushes is an absolute must. It's one of my favourite brushes, and I'll drop a link down below for this one. It's an affiliate link, you don't pay any extra, but I get a tiny little kickback which helps support the channel. I use Bob's painting as a guide and then added my own special little touches to make it uniquely mine. Now, you know the drill. Sit back, relax, cup of tea, or a cold drink, steady those nerves because there's a bravery test. That's my painting hand as well. And enjoy. Happy painting, people. So here's my canvas. I painted it pale lavender just for fun. I also marked an arch and I used some sticky back plastic to protect the background. For today's painting I'm going to be using this Bob Ross liquid white oil paint. I'll be applying a thin even coat all over my background. My brushes today are two 1-inch Bob Ross brushes. This one slightly newer and softer, this one older and slightly stiffer, and I'll use that for the liquid white. I'll be using a fan brush, a liner brush, and of course a Bob Ross palette knife. And my feature brush, a 1/2-inch round brush. A super soft brush for adding those little sparkly highlights. I'll drop a link in the description below. Let's get started. I've put some liquid white in a small pot for ease of use, and I'll scrub this on nice and thin. I want to make sure I apply just an even coat. If you're not sure how to use this, I'll put a link in the description down below. I cover the entire canvas, being careful not to brush outwards and push the liquid white under the edge of the tape. Brush in or brush along the line of the tape is safest. I have a limited palette of colours for this particular painting. I'll make a list of the colours down below in the description, but I'm going to start off with some alizarin crimson, but I'm going to add a little bit of red into it as well. I like that sort of strawberry pink colour for my painting. It wasn't in the original, but it's a little addition by me. I start off by marking where I think the horizon line should be, so just about the widest part of my canvas in that arch, and you can see I'm just blending on small amounts of colour and allowing it to mix with the liquid white. I love this strawberry pink colour for my background sky. And I'll let some of that colour drift down over the area where there will be some snow. Where there's going to be water, I pull in from the edges some stronger colour. I want this to look like a reflection across the water. Now, time to mix a lavender colour. About 5 parts alizarin crimson to 1 part phthalo blue. Phthalo blue is very strong. This produces a lovely soft lavender colour. And as you can see, I'm using that same nice brush with just a small amount of paint on it for my sky. I'll start at the very top and work the colour in, checking to make sure I like what I've mixed. I'll add a touch of the same colour to the area where I think there's going to be some water. Remember to use flat level strokes. Now, dry clean that nice 1-inch brush really well and slowly combine all these colours together. I'm looking for a soft pastel sky with no hard edges. Now let's paint some clouds. I'm going to use the end of my fan brush just to sketch the edge of the cloud. You want to try and get some nice bumpy interesting edges, and I'm using a little bit of lavender colour as a bit of a guide. And of course, clouds have flat bases to them in my world. I load my fan brush very well. Use the corner of the fan brush just to lay on a thick bed of paint. Notice I'm using little letter C's. C for cloud. I overlap the little letter C shapes to create a lovely bubbly edge. This will be the silver lining to my cloud. If you haven't got enough paint, it won't work. I don't waste the paint though, by filling in the centre of the cloud, so give my cloud some thickness. Filling out the body of the cloud. Using my nice dry clean brush, I want to just blend these clouds softly. Again, just small dabs and little C shapes. I don't want to overblend my cloud. I want to retain some of those lovely sort of thick shapes. This gives my cloud a little character. Dry clean your brush well, and then lightly fluff up the clouds. Very, very gently. Just use the very, very tips of the brush just to lift and fluff the edges of the cloud up. Let's add another little cloud. I'll use some time lapse for this. This time I use my nice brush to introduce a little bit of shadow into the cloud. A very, very small amount of the lavender colour. And again, soft, gentle upward strokes just to fluff up the edge of the cloud. I'll finish it off with some long, flat strokes to bring the painting all together. Let's paint some background foliage. For this I'm going to carry on using my nice brush. Tap into a little of the lavender colour, and with just a very small amount on the corner of the brush, tapped in very well as you see, I want to just add in a few suggestions of where these little bushes and trees might be. I find it's very important to do a little bit of planning in advance. It's so easy just to paint merrily away and realise you've covered up some vital bits of your sky or background. Now that I'm happy with the position and the trees and bushes are all at nice different heights, I go back and fill it in with some dark lavender. Now, time for some highlights. The problem is my titanium white is just too firm and dry. I'll add a small amount of liquid white. My paint wants to feel a bit like thick whipped cream. No thinner though. It'll go very muddy and mushy. It must have some body to it. Time to start using our half round brush. I'm going to load the brush very carefully with this softened white paint. Notice how when I touch the paint I can leave a little imprint of the bristles. Just press it in gently. If you can't see an imprint of the bristles, then you might have added too much liquid white. Make sure you can see a lovely stippled pattern. Then check the end of your brush to make sure the bristles are not just clogged up with paint, but nice and open and lacy. Then, when you touch your painting, the thinned white paint will stick to the lovely dry dark colour, and you can see every little bristle leaves a little speckle of paint. Reload your brush frequently, checking each time to make sure you're getting a nice stippled pattern and that the end of your brush is not clogged. Work your way around the outer edges of the little bushes and trees first. Make sure you go slightly over the edge, you don't want to leave a dark outline, but do save a little shadow here and there, as though you're painting individual limbs or parts of the bush. My top tip is don't go back over the bushes and trees several times. You'll fill up all of that lovely shadow colour and eventually the brush will just clog and those delicate highlights will look like little white thumbprints. Some happy accidents I used to make on my own paintings. Let's make some snowdrifts and banks on our painting. I'm going to use my fan brush. It still has some white paint from the clouds on it. And I just want to grab that little bottom edge of my bushes, take a little bit of the shadow colour and just gently tease it across the surface of the painting to give the illusion that there's some land. Follow the dips and troughs using a little bit of shadow and light here and there. When you're ready, fill in the last big tree on the left. And again, I'll use my fan brush just to pull out some little shadows from the base of those bushes. This is a wonderful way of creating the illusion of depth and distance in your paintings. Let's try adding a little sparkle of snow here, just for a bit of fun. Let's add a few frosty grasses for good measure. I want a little bit of this soft white paint on my fan brush, and then using the corner of the brush, just gently go in and press the bristles. Let the bristles bend upwards to leave a little imprint of the brush. Perfect. Time to add a snowy riverbank. I've reloaded my fan brush with a lot of white paint and touch and press. Notice the angle though, as though I'm coming up off of the surface of the water and making a little ridge in the paint. Again, I'm following the lay of the land. And for good measure, let's add another snowbank in the foreground. That adds yet another layer of depth and distance to our painting. Let's add some trees and bushes in the foreground, exactly the same way as we did with the background. First a nice dry dark colour, and then a thinned out highlight colour. This time I did a tiny little drop of red to it to give it a little bit of a pinkish glow. Don't forget, pull out some shadows as well. Time for a tree. I left a little bit of a dark patch here in the bushes, and there's a nice little dark gap between these trees. That was lucky. It's almost like I planned it. I used the point of my palette knife to scratch a line so I know where I'm going to go with the tree, and then I used the side of the small blade just to scrape out some of that excess paint. I use more of the blade as I go down to the base of the trunk. This is my top tip when painting trees. Scrape out the underpainting. It makes adding the next layer so much easier. And that next layer is some Van Dyke brown. Just touch with a small roll of paint and just give it a slight pull. I want to create a dark brown textured layer on which I can make some highlights stick. Just gently fill it in and tap on the paint so it feels nice and sticky. I've thinned down some of the Van Dyke brown with my liner brush and a couple of drops of thinners. I'm going to add some little branches. Notice how far back I hold that brush. I paint with just the tip of the bristles and I wiggle my fingers. Think about the shape of your tree being like an arrowhead, pointy at the top and wider towards the bottom. You'll see that better when I paint the next tree. Now let's add a little bit of highlight. I marble mix some off-white and some dark sienna. Take a little roll and gently tap on the right hand side of my trunk. I think the light's coming from the right, so that wants to be the lightest side. As I tap, I leave a little imprint of the knife, and when you look at it close up, it looks just like bark. It even feels like bark when you touch it. For those tricky little areas, I use a little short edge of the knife, and again, just tap and touch. The dark Van Dyke brown colour will take off the highlight paint. Now, for an added touch of sparkle, let's add a little snow. Down in those little clefts is where it builds up and along the tops of some of those branches. If you overdo it, it doesn't matter. Just tap on some more Van Dyke brown. If you have any ideas or suggestions for future projects, drop a comment down below. I'll shortlist the best ones, and the one that gets the most votes is what I paint next. Now we finish the tree, let's drop in a couple of fence posts. Van Dyke brown, a little highlight, a little snow. And then I'm going to use the edge of my palette knife with a tiny roll of Van Dyke brown, press and slide the knife along just to give the illusion of a few wires. I'll finish off this part of my painting with a few more frosty grasses. A nice little detail is to thin down some of this lavender paint and add a little shadow line to the edge of the snow where it meets the water. I look for the areas where I think the snow lays fairly flat against the edge of the water. Just a few touches really gives a sense of depth between the snow and the water. Let's add a little sapling to the right hand side of my painting. This helps to balance up the whole scene. The same techniques as I used on the big tree. When you see me add the little branches to this tree, you'll spot that little arrowhead shape that I mentioned earlier. You want wider branches at the bottom that splay out a little bit more, and the newer, fresher branches a little more upward pointing and a little shorter. For the left hand side of my tree trunks, I'm adding a little bit of a pale blue mixture. It's a tiny touch of phthalo blue and some of the titanium white paint. This is what is known as referred light. It's light that bounces back from another object in the painting. In this case, probably blue light from the snow. It really helps those tree trunks pop. So here's my finished painting. Time for the big reveal. I'm going to pull off this sticky back plastic. That's a shame. I was getting quite attached to that. It looked quite good. Maybe a project for a future painting. And finally, the little bit of masking tape. All I need now is a few scratchy sticks and twigs and possibly a little signature. And we're finished. That's it, folks. All done. Nothing more to see here. You want to see me struggle with the bravery test? Okay, I recorded it. Just take a small roll of the Van Dyke brown and extend the main trunk and the side branch out of the painting. This is very much an optional thing, and I know a lot of people get a bit of an attack of nerves. We actually had someone walk out of a painting demonstration once. He couldn't watch. It did him in. He literally jumped up and said, "No, I can't look." Well, we did the painting anyway, and when he came back, he was completely mesmerised by it. He said afterwards, "I wish I'd stayed." I'm getting the hang of this now. Let's extend the little tree as well. Just going to take it off the top edge and maybe add a few little side branches just over the edge of that outline. There. So there you have it, Winter Lace, a Bob Ross classic. But don't stop now. Watch this next video. Happy painting, people!